right, time for Gummy
Okay.
Bears. Okay.
This one seems interesting.
It is a very interesting dynamic. I feel like it's a little bit more serious than some of our other ones, but I just feel like it's very twisted. Like I'm like,
Oh.
whose side would you pick and what would you do in the situation? And the start is, am I the a-hole for siding with my husband and not with my kids? And this is the mom talking.
Oh, so siding with her husband, not her kids.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, I know the title sounds bad, but for some context, I, 36 female, have twins with my ex, 42 male, a girl, Olivia, and a boy, Enzo, who are now 16 years old. My ex is one hell of an asshole. We, yeah, that's what she said it.
Okay.
We ended our relationship because he had cheated on me while I was pregnant, and I was not happy with that. He never paid child support and was absent from their lives most of the time, only coming back once or twice during the year to play the fun dad. But, well, of course, his absence affected my kids a lot. Anyways, when Olivia and Enzo were a year old, I reconnected with an ex from high school, Ian. He's also 36. And we started dating. The main reason we had broke up is that I wanted kids in the future and he wasn't sure, and since two seemed more than enough for me, that problem was out of the way. Ian wasn't involved at first with Olivia and Enzo, but after we moved in together over 2 years later, he began to help me with them without me even having to ask, which I was really grateful for, and they eventually formed a bond. We got married, and Olivia and Enzo called Ian Dad for as long as I can remember, although they always knew he wasn't their biological father. Ian and I make the same amount of money, and we live in a house I inherited from my father, and Ian only earns a little bit less than me. There's not a big difference. With time, my ex went from showing up once or twice a year to not showing up at all for a couple of years, which is when their bond became even stronger. And Ian told me he wanted to adopt them because he saw them as his own kids, and he truly felt like their father. However, that never actually happened because it was a legal mess in our country that we didn't want to get into. Now, last year, and out of the blue, my ex showed up again, claiming to be a different man now and wanting to rekindle their relationship with the kids. The kids fell for his act despite Ian and I warning them not to trust him completely, which is okay, I guess. They have a right to want a relationship with him.
Mhm.
The problem started when they began to ignore Ian. It's like they were treating him like a replacement they no longer needed. And of course, my husband noticed this. One night, it escalated because they were having a really dumb fight that started because Enzo had not cleaned the kitchen after cooking. And we have this important rule in the house that pretty much means that each one is usually responsible for cleaning their own mess. Man, we should have that. And well, Ian just went inside the room to tell them he needed to clean, and Enzo began yelling at him. Olivia joined in, and they were telling him how exhausted they were about Ian treating them as if they were their real father.
Oh,
They had a father, and he shouldn't act like one just because he didn't have kids of their own.
okay.
I remember Ian just left the house that night without saying a word, and I told Olivia and Enzo they made the wrong choice treating Ian like this. And when their real dad leaves again, I didn't want to see them crawling back to the one who actually took care of them and always was there.
That's sad.
Ian came back the next day and he was incredibly upset. I did my best to comfort him, and he told me he felt disrespected and that there was no coming back from this.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was hard to hear, but I told him that if he no longer wanted to be involved in the twins' life, I wouldn't be angry at him. He cried a lot that night and cried himself to sleep during the next days. He's sensitive.
Really sensitive.
It was awful to see him like this, and I couldn't do anything but try to comfort him. I tried to talk to my kids to tell them that they really needed to apologize, but they refused completely, saying they already had a dad and didn't need him, and it made me question what kind of kids I was raising.
They're like teenagers now?
16,
How old were they when they met him?
1.
1. Okay. I'm thinking, yeah, they turned into jerky teenagers and he's too sensitive.
As predicted, from one day to another, their real dad left the city and never called Olivia or Enzo again. When they realized what happened, they were devastated. I was there for them, but it shocked me how they wanted to pretend everything was okay between them and Ian, calling him dad again. Ian simply told them he was not their dad and would clearly never be. This has been going on for a while. They were thinking Ian would change his mind eventually and forgive them, but that has not changed. As a last card, they came to me and told me to speak to Ian, and I told them we had talked many times and it was clear Ian would no longer be involved in their lives, which is what they wanted anyway, so I don't know what the problem was. They were in shock with my response and kept trying to convince me, but I made clear that my husband is a human with feelings, not a wallet and a replacement for the pathetic man they like to call real dad, and that if they thought that they could disrespect people that care for them without any consequence, then they were very, very wrong. I told them there was no
I thought
going
the
back
guy
from
who was
this, that
praying all the
things would
time was
not be the
Dusty.
same, and they had themselves to blame for that.
Ooh,
I know. That is.
she's a strong lady.
I
Ooh. I'd have been, oh, we got to work this out.
know, because that's where I get, like, where I'm reading this and I'm just like,
Do we know the whole story, like, of how horrible they were to Ian?
I
Was it
know.
just that one thing, you know?
Well, they kind of told him, like, you're
I mean,
our,
it was pretty bad what they did.
and they wouldn't apologize. And they
No.
said, no, we have our real
And then she's
dad.
kinda saying they want the money. They want him as, like, for what they can get out of him now.
They shouldn't have taken for granted a person that was always there for them. They went crying to my mom after that, and she told me she understood why I was upset with them, but couldn't side with my husband in this. That they were kids that made a mistake and they need a second chance, and that I should try to solve things. And to be honest, I don't think I can. I love my kids, and they have always been my priority, and this has not changed my love for them. But I also love my husband, and he's such a great man who stepped up when he didn't have an obligation and was such a support for me and for the kids. He was the father they had known for so
I
long,
think
and
it was
even if I
Timber
try,
who
I
was
don't
always
think I'm even
praying.
close to knowing the amount of pain that can cause you to have the kids that you raised as your own for years tell you you're not their real dad and to treat you as literal trash. As
They must have been really mean.
and disrespectful to him.
Yeah.
See,
As
he
much as I
was the
want
one
them to
praying because
make
I
up,
remember
I
he
know my
yeah.
husband is so hurt and they caused that over what? A man they had barely seen for like 7 times in their whole life. Ian is now convinced that Enzo and Olivia don't love him and only saw him as a replacement. And he thinks if their real dad ever shows up again, they would treat him like crap again. Although I don't think my kids would do that, I know he has every right to feel that way. And if Ian no longer feels comfortable involved in my kid's life, then I don't feel I can contradict him. They just broke the relationship. Ian is usually a pretty reasonable man. He has thought a lot about this, so I know that he's sure about his choice. I know he has been crushed with this and now he wants to have a kid, but I told him no because I believe he just wants to replace Olivia and Enzo. Despite respecting my husband's decision, I don't want my kids to lose the man they've seen as their father ever since they can remember. I know it's going to crush them and it'll affect them even more in the future. And sometimes I wonder if I should listen to my mom and try to talk Ian to try to repair the relationship. But I don't know. Am I the a hole?
I think that she should try to talk to Ian to repair the relationship. I mean, he's thin-skinned.
Yeah.
These are teenagers and they never had their dad and they probably just want their way. It isn't
Yeah.
personal. That's I mean, he obviously does not he has not given no unconditional love at all.
No. And then, like,
I
her.
just have strong opinions about this. I don't like that he's so thin-skinned and I don't like that she's just like
He's
kissing
the
his
adult.
butt. Yeah, he's the adult. Like, make them respect you. You don't need them to kiss your butt. You just need them to respect you and be the father they never had. Be one that steps up and say, now, yeah, I'm going to still be in your life and show
Mhm.
them that you love them and just, demand that they respect you. But don't cut them off and get rid of them.
I mean, because I don't understand because I mean, I know she's like, "Oh, he only married me," but no, you had kids.
He
Like,
married your family. That's the whole point.
yeah. And I don't.
No, when someone marries you and you have a child, they are marrying you and your children.
And what do you think about him wanting a kid now?
I think he's a little baby, butthurt baby.
Yeah, I do too. And
No, and I would say she's the a-hole. Yeah, she needs to, it seems like she could get him to do anything. She needs to talk him in to knocking it off and stop being such a baby. These are teenagers.
you guys listened to every time I said something and actually took it to heart and actually like,
You can't take it to heart. People
no.
say things and people get upset. Oh my God, that's what you do. I mean, you get upset and you say things you should have not said, but you don't.
Hold it to them for that
I
long.
kept thinking he grew up with them. He's thin-skinned. He needs to take those babies back. He needs to forgive them, and he just needs to be a father.
So in our situation, so my mom, like, she has a different dad than Papa. But like Papa got married to Nanny when she was 7 and kind of took her in as his own. So how do you think he would have reacted in that situation if like her real dad came back?
I think it would have hurt his feelings, but I don't see him cutting her off. But she wouldn't have did that. She's
No,
not
I'm not
dumb.
saying she would do that. I'm just saying because I'm trying to think of like a
She
step.
wouldn't do that. She ain't dumb. She knows who cared for her and who loved her. She knows who her real father is. I guess maybe that's it too. They should see, but maybe there's little selfish children that need to wake up.
They really need to wake up. I just don't know how you could do that to
And
your.
maybe she's judging herself because her kids are so rotten.
The husband and the children are in the wrong. I don't care. The wife just needs to separate and try to mediate the situation
Yeah,
rather than picking a side. She needs to
I
mediate.
agree with the scoop.
They're gonna decide if you go in the nursing home. So she needs to keep a good relationship with them while also correcting them. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Too
Yeah,
deep
I
for
think
me.
she needs to mediate it too.
I think so too. I don't think she should just side with her husband. Even
Mm-mm.
I think it's because she holds against
I think she's upset at them that they chose their
dad.
mean old daddy,
Yeah, the
and mean
cheater
old daddy
dad.
didn't.
He was who he is.
Yeah.
There is an update. This
Ooh,
I know.
okay.
I wanted to get your thoughts before I read the update. So the first update or the first post was written in June of 2025. So this is
Okay.
February 2026. 8 months later. So I know it's been a while since I last posted. I had even forgotten, to be honest, but I opened Reddit today and figured I could update since things have changed this past month, although I doubt anyone remembers about it. Well, I'm going to start by saying that despite the accusations I received of being too harsh on my kids here, I consider I acted well by not cuddling them and taking their side.
Mm.
Hmm. Not because I wanted them to suffer, but to show them actions have consequences, that you can't walk over anyone and you can't take any relationship for
I
granted.
could see that part of
Yeah.
it. I gotta hear more though.
However, I did let them know things hadn't changed between us, that I loved them just as much and that nothing would change that, and that I wanted to help them heal from everything. I don't remember mentioning it, but my kids went to therapy to deal with certain issues when they were young, but stopped because they felt like they didn't need it anymore. Even the therapist said so.
Mm.
But after everything, I came to the obvious conclusion they were too vulnerable to manipulation and that their bio father's actions had affected them worse than I thought. So I tried to convince them to go back. It was hard, but I managed to convince Olivia at first, and she ended up convincing Enzo. It took some time, but they began to heal slowly. They made progress, and they both wrote two different long messages to Ian, acknowledging what they did wrong and apologizing for everything, explaining why they did it, and telling him they regret what they had done to him. Of course, this didn't fix things. Things didn't go back to normal, but Ian accepted the apology and they have been cordial ever since. So, as I mentioned in the last post, all they said and did affected my husband terribly. He also started therapy and he opened to me about everything. It took a while for him to go back to his old self, but he did, and we decided to take a 1 month vacation to get away from things. I wish I could go on vacation.
They live in a different country.
Yeah. Ian and I are better than ever, to be honest. He was really thankful I had supported him and told me he didn't think he could have gotten out of that hole if it weren't for me. I know, I'm still thinking, like,
I want to I want to hear because I'm thinking.
I mean, I know what happens, but the only thing is, I'm like, is she coddling her man too much?
Like I said, nursing home decision makers.
I
Okay, but okay, I'm gonna.
I just want to hear. I just want to hear.
When it comes to the talk about having kids, we have been discussing it seriously. He mentioned at first he thinks it did come out of a suggestion that came from all the hurt that Olivia and Enzo put him through, but that he had been talking about it with his therapist and came to the conclusion he does want kids of his own. The only reason why he thought he didn't want to be one was because his father was terrible and was terrified of repeating patterns. But with Olivia and Enzo, he had learned he really wanted to be one. But since he had them, he didn't think he'd want to have any more. Now that he lost him, he wants to know what it is like to have a kid he can raise, take care of, and to love.
Hmm.
Yeah, we discussed it for a couple weeks and then started trying, and I found out I was pregnant last month. Ian has been really happy. Even Enzo and Olivia are excited to have a sibling, which is quite unexpected. And I'm honestly scared to have to give birth again because it wasn't at all a nice experience. But I want to have another kid. Anyway, as I mentioned, Ian, Enzo, and Olivia are now cordial. Sadly, I doubt they can rebuild what they had, but I guess only time will tell if there's a chance for Ian to change his mind. Enzo and Olivia were pretty sad with dealing with the fact that things may never go back to what it was with Ian. But I've told them they need to focus on themselves right now. They finished secondary school last year and will start university in March, so they will move to the capital next week. I told them to focus on their lives, their friends, and their career and let time heal some wounds. It's the only thing they can do now, and finally learn that no matter how badly they want to believe otherwise, their biological father is a terrible father and a terrible man that wants nothing but to manipulate them, and they need to stand up for themselves. So, this is pretty much it for now. If anything else changes, I may edit this if I remember to do so. Thank you all for the nice comments on the last post. Goodbye.
I feel like Ian is thin-skinned. But he was really hurt by them. Then I'm trying to see her side. She's wanting to teach her kids that they can't abuse people. So maybe she's afraid they'll be like the dad.
Oh.
And she's seeing the dad in them.
Mm.
Because how evil is that to just like turn on the person who raised you and loved you and cared for you? So maybe she's seeing that in them. So she really wants to make a point.
Yeah.
I love you, but I'm not going to make Ian do anything he doesn't want to do.
Yeah. I can't make Ian.
That's the only
forgive you.
thing.
Yeah.
Now I'm trying to see it from her perspective is that she's scared they're going to be like the dad. Mistreat people, use them, abuse them,
Manipulate them.
manipulate them. But hopefully Ian will change because, I mean, he was close to them and they did write him a big letter. So she seems like she comes from a culture, though, that sounds like,
They please the man.
yeah, and I just have a feeling those men are very proud men. I don't know what culture that is, but I'm thinking some type of
I
culture.
think that was like Europe.
Yeah, I don't know.
Europe or Latin America. Because
Maybe.
they're going to the capital.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I just feel like Ian's thin-skinned, though, too.
I just can't
Like, why
wait
can't
till
he get over it?
his own kid becomes a teenager and does basically the same
Well,
thing to
it's
him in
so
a different
true.
way.
That's what I was thinking. They were teenagers.
Yeah, and like how he says he thinks he's going to have a kid that loves him unconditionally. I mean, kids are kids. I mean, it's the parent's job to love the child unconditionally, not the child's. I mean,
I think he wants the kid to fulfill himself,
Mm-hmm.
and the wife's already helping at that one.
And I feel like that's going to cause issues for the twins. I mean, he raised them. I mean, just because they were being little shits, like that doesn't mean
Yeah.
that. I don't know.
That's a weird dynamic.
I feel like it is. I feel like Ian just needs to stop it. But then the kids are going off to university now.
Yeah.
Are they ever going to be in the family's life? Because even though the mom loves him, like if you're that person, would you want to be back with Ian?
Well, they said they're cordial.
But would you, like, if you're going to have your own life, would you ever be involved with them?
I don't know.
I don't think I would.
I don't know if I guess if Ian could never forgive me,
I would be cordial, but I
it
wouldn't
would be weird. It would be awkward.
I wouldn't be going out of my way to spend time with them.
Yeah.
Like I would
But
just
they don't have a dad.
It doesn't matter. They can make new friends. They'll probably get married and they'll have their own lives. Like
Yeah.
not that young, but I mean like think of 10 years from now, like if they don't patch this stuff and if the mom really doesn't pursue to fix this, like she's going to lose her kids because you're not going to want to be uncomfortable around the man your mom's married to.
It didn't sound like they were uncomfortable, though. It just sounded like they were cordial.
Cordial, but I mean there's just something still there. Like
Yeah.
They gotta deal with their trauma. They'll be fine as long as they don't end up like the dad.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, crazy story. But you have any other crazy stories you want to share with us or talk about the midterms, the blue wave that we pray does not happen, or how to create your own happiness? How can they get a hold of us?
You can text us at 757-756-7487 or email us connect at the KNOWBUDDIES757.com.
Want to be in the know?
Subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Listen to us on all podcast platforms.
Follow us on all our socials.
Visit our website, thenobody757.com. I'm Kashmir.
I'm Jackie.
And we are
The Nobodies 757.